At AT&T Park in San Francisco, the New York Mets play the San Francisco Giants. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. For great deals on Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, visit buyfordnow.com. Buy cash for life from the New York Lottery. You could win $1,000 a day for life. By Tri-Acura. Visit your local Tri-Acura dealer online, triacuradealers.com. And by Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. Well, it's our third day in San Francisco, so we have had a lot of nice, beautiful San Francisco shots. This is a compendium of all of the beautiful vistas we have brought your way the last 2 days. Hope you enjoyed it. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to San Francisco. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets play the rubber game of their three-game series against the Giants. Noah Syndergaard makes the start today. Noah's last start in Chicago really is a microcosm of his entire season, right? He's got great stuff, but he gives up more hits than innings pitched. He tries to find his dominant self here today in San Francisco.
Well, it's a lineup that he should dominate. This is not a very good Dodger offense. Noah's been getting hit early, and I think he's been getting hit with that sinker. I'd like to see him go more with that four-seamer and learn to pitch upstairs. What's happened is that what I've seen, they're on his fastball, they're hitting him to the opposite field, and then he starts throwing his breaking ball to get himself through the inning, and his stuff is so outstanding that he becomes a pitcher. And sometimes I wonder if his ego gets in the way that he can't just blow hitters away with his fastball.
What's really interesting is you look at his strikeout rate on his fastball, and it's gone down over the course of his career, despite the fact that he's still throwing 98 miles an hour.
And he's still throwing 98 miles an hour, and he's still not walking people, and he's not giving up home runs. He's only given up 6 home runs this year.
It was a pitcher's hit that beat him his last time out. John Lester had the big hit against him. Meanwhile, Chris Stratton goes for the Giants. The Mets saw him in New York.
He did. He got a no decision, pitched a good game against the Mets. He started out 7-3 and then hit a real bad speed bump. They sent him down. He got reconfigured mechanics-wise, has come back and pitched much better.
Had the longest outing and the most pitches in a start in his career his last time out against Arizona. We'll see how that affects Stratton here today. Mets and Giants in San Francisco. All the action coming your way on SNY. Jersey, healthcare provider of the game, Eric B. Chandler Health Center. Get to Citi Field Saturday, September 8th when the Mets take on the Phillies at 7:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Mets winter hat courtesy of Just Works. Purchase tickets at Mets.com/tickets. Legends of the Game presented by Budweiser, the legendary lager for legendary moments. And who's a bigger legend than Willie Mays? Maybe the greatest player in the history of the game. Do you think?
He's the greatest player I ever saw. I saw a lot of great ones.
Babe Ruth might give him a run for his money.
Well, before my time, but
Ty Cobb.
Look at Willie.
Say hey. Say Willie.
What a great player. That's the old. Oh, here's a little stage catch right there. He could do it all, Gary.
Hugely popular in New York and in San Francisco and in statuary outside AT&T Park. Mets and Giants for a final time. First pitch coming up. Having a terrific road trip. Jeff McNeil back in after sitting yesterday. Tomas Nido gets a second straight start after 2 hits in a game well caught yesterday. As the Mets go up against the former Giants first-round draft pick Chris Stratton.
There you see his Toyota numbers, and as I mentioned, started out 7-3. Talked with Mike Krukow, the TV voice of the Giants, and he had maternity leave, went for maternity leave, came back, and just wasn't the same pitcher for whatever reason, who knows. But they sent him down. Ryan Vogelsong corrected him in his mechanics, and he's been pitching. This is his 3rd start since his recall.
His first pitch is low for ball 1, and we're underway. Rosario, a triple yesterday, 8 for 20 on this road trip. Up to 249 on the year, and he grounds one for Joe Panik at second base. He takes care of Rosario for the first down.
The Jeep starting infield for the Giants. Nick Hundley, we saw him before the game. Gary mentioned got my attention. He was practicing blocking balls down the left field line before the game. The outfield, the young Chris Shaw, And Austin Slater, Gregor Blanco gets his first start of this series in center field.
Here's Jeff McNeil. Didn't start yesterday. He's 1 for 4 in the series. And he takes a strike from Stratton. McNeil finished August with 34 hits, which is the most for any rookie in a calendar month since Kaz Matsui 14 years ago had 39 hits in a month, which happens to be the Mets club record shared with Jose Reyes. So McNeil doing things that Met rookies have not done in a long time, including he had 3 hits and 3 at-bats against Stratton the first time the Mets faced him 11 days ago. And he pops this one up on the infield, and Alan Hansen, the shortstop, waiting for it to come down. And quickly Stratton has the first 2 outs.
Stratton was a #1 draft pick of the Giants back in 2012. The 20th pick overall. And he came up in 2016. He is 28 years old, from Tupelo, Mississippi.
Mississippi State product. Both these teams have been getting great starting pitching lately, and we've certainly seen that in this series. And he starts Jay Bruce out with a slider, 0-1. Jay off the DL, 8 games, 8 for 31. Still finding his footing, playing first base again today, which we can expect to see a lot of through the final 27 games of the year. And a good changeup by Stratton to put Bruce in a 2-strike hole.
Well, Stratton's not a strikeout pitcher, only 89 strikeouts and 115 1/3, but good command. Has all the pitches, the 4 pitches, 2 different fastballs, a good curveball, cutter, change.
Worked into the 7th inning in New York when he faced them on the last homestand. Didn't walk a batter, struck out 4. Took a no decision in that game. One-two coming to Bruce, and he bounces it weakly on the right side. Belt takes care of that. Stratton covers, side retired. 9-pitch inning for Chris Stratton. Noah Syndergaard heads to the mound when we come back. Conspicuous by his absence for the 3rd straight day with what they're now calling a sore knee. Gregor Blanco gets a start in center field for the first time in this series. Chris Shaw gets his 2nd big league start in left field, as Noah Syndergaard tries to beat the Giants for a 2nd time.
Well, very interesting Land Rover numbers. Look at the hits to innings pitched. That's very un-Thor-like. The 25 walks is very Thor-like. The strikeouts are down.
And Blanco swings at the first pitch and pops one up on the left side. And Frazier staggers, but hangs on to it for the first out.
And your Lexus Metzi starting infield. Jay Bruce, of course, now. This is what, it's another start at 3rd base. It's going to be there quite a bit. McNeil back in the lineup. Plawecki still out of Dodge, and Nito getting a start. And this has been your regular outfield. Beautiful catch by Brandon Nimmo to end the game yesterday afternoon and preserve the win and the save for Robert Gazelman.
Joe Panik hitting second in the order for the Giants, 1 for 7 in this series. It was interesting to see Blanco attack the first pitch against Syndergaard. The Cubs had success being very aggressive early in the game against Noah. Remember, they had 4 straight hits to start that game. Of course, a little different kind of a lineup for the Giants as opposed to the Cubs, as Noah finds the inside corner for a strike, 1-1.
Well, that pitch to Blanco was a fastball upstairs, Gareth, so we'll keep an eye on that. Syndergaard has not mastered throwing up in the strike zone, elevating.
And he goes to the changeup, and he gets a strike, 1-2. Syndergaard went 6 in that last start in Chicago on Monday, gave up 4 runs and 9 hits. The big hit came against John Lester after the Mets intentionally walked the bases loaded to get to him, and Lester singled to drive in 2 runs. Go figure. 1-2 coming. Fastball away, 2-2. That Cubs lineup, by the way, did Jacob deGrom a favor today. They got 4 runs in 5 2/3 innings against Aaron Nola, including 3 Chicago home runs. So Nola's ERA has gone up to 2.23. deGrom pitches tomorrow in L.A. Bouncer on the right side. McNeil playing on the outfield grass, throws out Panik, 2 away. And just as an added bonus for deGrom tomorrow night, it's a 5 o'clock local time start in Los Angeles, so it's going to be one of those games in Southern California where the shadows will certainly work in the pitcher's favor.
It'll be shades of the 1980 All-Star game in Dodger Stadium, my second All-Star game, when J.R. Richards went out and pitched against that All-Star American League lineup at 5 o'clock and mowed him down for 2 innings, 6 up, 6 down.
Here's Evan Longoria with 2 out. By the way, the Astros might have found themselves their newest answer to J.R. Richards. You see what the kid they called up yesterday did? Josh James threw 101 miles an hour. Starting pitcher. He did it for 5 innings. Struck out 9. His first big league start. Longoria goes after a slider and misses, and it's 0-2. Longoria homered yesterday against Steven Matz, the only run the Giants scored in the Mets' 2-1 11-inning win.
Interesting how Noah is starting this game. They've got him early his last more than a few starts, coming out throwing a fastball, here mixing it up early.
And he runs that 99-mile-an-hour sinker inside, 1-2 to Longoria. Well, Noah's looking for that one signature dominant game that has really eluded him. Despite the 9-3 record, a very respectable 3.51 ERA. As you said it, Keith, it doesn't walk people, doesn't give up home runs. And he strikes out Longoria with a changeup to end the inning. So a 1-2-3 first for Noah, caps it off with a strikeout. No score after 1. Frazier leads off against Chris Stratton in the second. And he goes after a first pitch breaking ball and fouls it off. Todd delivered the game-winning RBI yesterday, a sacrifice fly in the 11th. 20 RBIs in his last 22 games now for Todd.
He's hit some home runs too. He's got a shot at 20.
And Stratton runs the sinker low and in, a ball and a strike. Frazier, Conforto, and Nimmo for the Mets in the second. Todd goes after a high fastball and misses 1-2.
Oh, this is another Giant pitcher that throws in the low 90s, Gary. This is a team, the pitching staff that doesn't strike out a lot of guys. And you see a lot of control pitchers, which I kind of like.
Curveball in the dirt, 2-2. Well, the Giants have struck out the third fewest hitters of any staff in the league, but they have the sixth best ERA in the league, and they've been even better lately. Last 12 games, the Giants starting pitchers are at 1.51 ERA, and the Mets are pretty much in the same ballpark over their last 3-4 turns through the rotation. Frazier cracks one into left for a base hit, and that's going to go back to the wall. Todd legs his way to second, and he's in with the first hit of this game, a leadoff double in the second.
Well, one thing, Todd stays has a level swing, and just sometimes he dips and gets under the ball, but this one he certainly did not. Belt high fastball out over the plate, and he tattoos this one, puts a dent in that car maybe. Oh, and the grill.
14th double of the year for Frazier, his first hit in this series. Looks like one of those teeth took a little bit of a beating. Don't think of cars needing dentists. That one might. Conforto drives one to deep center field. Back goes Blanco to the warning track at the wall, leaping, and it's out of here. Michael Conforto with his 20th home run of the year, a 2-run shot, and the Mets jump in front 2-0 in the second. So after Frazier's double, Conforto jumps on the next pitch and hits his 20th.
First pitch fastball down the pipe. Want to come in? Bleeds out over the middle, right down Broadway. And anytime anybody leaves the yard here in center field, that's a stroke. That's a bomb. Ball does not carry out there.
Now Brandon Nimmo nubs one down to third, and Longoria throws him out one away. So the Mets being aggressive with Stratton, putting 3 consecutive pitches into play. So the Mets with their first home run in this series, and Conforto hands Syndergaard the lead. Now Austin Jackson. Jackson, who started his year with the Giants, 2 for 8 in this series. In fact, we were admiring the covers of the Giants monthly magazine earlier today, and Austin Jackson graced the cover, only to be traded away shortly thereafter.
And also another cover was Andrew McCutchen, who's just been unloaded to the Yankees.
Well, he lasted here a little longer.
Yes.
McCutchen went 0 for 3 in his debut for the Yankees last night. And Jackson goes after the curveball and misses 1-2. Tomas Nido waits on deck. The Mets, when this ballpark first opened in 2000, had tremendous trouble winning here. But over the last 10 or 12 years, they've actually had a winning mark here, and they've won 6 of their last 7 in this park. Jackson strikes out on the fastball, and Stratton's got his first strikeout of the day. 2 out. Mets played in the playoff series here, their first year that the ballpark opened in 2000.
That was a heck of a series.
Well, they lost the first game. Mike Hampton pitched and got beat. And so the second game was a must-win. It was best-of-5 series, and the Mets let a lead get away in the ninth. J.T. Snow hit a game-tying home run off Armando Benitez, and then the Mets won it in the 10th. Darrell Hamilton had the game-winning hit, and John Franco struck out Barry Bonds to end the game. Grounded on the left side by Nito, circling it is Hansen to get it. Low throw, and Belt stayed on the bag as he snagged that hop to end the inning. Nicely done by Belt to save his shortstop an error. Mets get the lead on the Michael Conforto home run. 20 home runs for a second straight year for Conforto, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead in the second. Manage your dream team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone. Brandon Belt takes a breaking ball for a strike as we start the second inning.
Oh, I am seeing a new trend here with Syndergaard here, getting through, mixing up his pitches, not coming with predictably with the fastball.
Comes with the fastball here. It's popped up in his shallow center, and Jackson ambles in to get it, 1 out. Well, after what happened to him in his last start in Chicago, Noah had to change the early game program.
And the thing was, the left-handers that got the hit, and even the starting pitcher, Lester, they were all to the opposite field. Hitting that two-seamer, I hate to call it that, but okay, I'll call it a sinker, a two-seamer. And that just means that they're going with the pitch away, then they're not worried inside.
Here's Austin Slater, who's having a good series, 4 hits and 9 at bats, hitting at .282. He started all 3 games of this series. After the trade of McCutchen to the Yankees, he's played right field, a position he had not been familiar with, and he's had some adventures out there. And he takes a sinker low and in, 2-0. Well, it's an early call for the Spectrum high-speed pitch, and as usual, it's no contest.
Yes.
Need to get a little better competition out there. Slater fouls one off Nito and back. 2 balls and a strike.
You can't get caught up in all that throwing through a brick wall stuff, Gary. You know, okay, I'll move, I'll float like a
butterfly,
sting like a bee.
You know, velocity is not the be-all end-all, but it's still a good thing to have.
It is. It does help.
I don't think Noah would trade it.
Nope. You can make mistakes when you throw bullets.
And a nasty curveball that time gets him even on Slater 2-2. See, that's a weapon that I'm surprised he doesn't use more.
I agree. I just, you know, he doesn't have to worry about a base runner. Look at his motion right here. He doesn't have to worry about a base runner from his windup. I'd like to see him take a full windup and get some momentum. What do I know about pitching?
Of course, this is a much bigger windup than he had earlier in the season when he was side saddling and really almost pitching out of the stretch when he was in the windup.
I mean, if he had a windup like Nolan Ryan, full windup, I just think he would throw 110 miles an hour.
Hands over the head, the whole thing. Slater gets a piece of the slider, and it's 3-2. Nick Hundley on deck. Well, he is such a force of nature out there, and you know, you look at the home run numbers. He's gone now 36 innings without allowing a home run, which is amazing for a power pitcher.
Yes.
You know, most of these guys give up so many more home runs, but he and DeGrom have had a great run of not letting the ball leave the ballpark. He walks Slater, first base runner for San Francisco.
As you can see, there's not much to his windup. A sidestep. Not even a side. Yeah, it is a sidestep. And not much of a leg kick. And it just doesn't seem to me that he's just so strong and such a strong arm that it enables him. I mean, to me, it's a, like you said, it's a freak of nature for him to be able to throw that hard.
Now Nick Hundley, 0 for 4 yesterday, and he goes after a fastball and misses.
That's that high one up there. Four seam, straight fastball, as I'll call it. There you go. Look at that.
You have fans everywhere.
Yes. Oh.
Slider in for a strike, and it's 0-2. Well, we were talking before about how Noah does not get strikeouts off his fastball the way he did earlier in his career, and you can see the numbers there. 3.6 strikeouts per game on fastballs in his first 40 starts, 2.1 over the last 40 starts, which is a huge drop off. Fly ball down the right side, and that'll go foul. What it means, of course, is that he's using his slider and his changeup as put-away pitches, but still you would expect that he would be able to do what DeGrom does, which is when he gets ahead 2 strikes, elevate a fastball, get a swing and miss.
Well, the little sinker, two-seamer, Gary, is a pitch to contact.
Right. And yet he has more strikeouts than innings pitched, but they have not predominantly come on his fastball. Slater runs. Hundley fouls it off.
That looked like a hit and run right there.
0-2.
Oh, well, shoot, that's right.
I think Slater just got an enormous jump when Syndergaard paid him no mind.
That was such a defensive swing. It looked to me like it was, geez.
Of course, that's, you know, that's also the other piece with Syndergaard, that sometimes you wonder whether he is losing some of his dominance because he's worrying too much about the running game. And why wouldn't he worry? He's given up 26 steals in 29 tries, more than any other pitcher in the league.
And
should be a double play. Frazier to McNeil and on to first, and that gets Syndergaard through the second. 5-4-3 on the double play. After 2, Mets lead 2-0. How come we didn't do this?
Are they on seat belts?
It's the rocket boat. Oh, they better be belted in. That's doing some serious turns out there. That's outstanding, Keith. Next time we're here.
No, I like that better.
Well, that's a nice
no,
leisurely way of spending your afternoon. But the rocket boats, come on!
No, you have a cooler in that.
I'm sure that you can, work your beverages around the rocket boat too. Noah Syndergaard will lead off the third. Mets with the 2-0 lead. Noah's got 5 hits this year, 3 RBIs. And Stratton starts him off with a sinker away for ball 1. Syndergaard, then Rosario and McNeil for the Mets in the third. Mets got their 2 runs on Michael Conforto's 20th home run of the year. So Conforto leads the Mets with 20 home runs. Last night for Oakland, Chris Davis hit his 40th home run. And I love this. Syndergaard pulls one down to first, and Belt will take it himself. So Chris Davis has now hit 40 or more home runs 3 straight years. You know the last Athletic to do that?
Oh.
Jimmy Fox.
Oh, going that far back, of course.
McGuire never did it. Reggie Jackson never did it.
Right.
Canseco never did it. 40 home runs 3 straight years. First since Jimmy Fox, 1932 to 1934. Of course, that's 2 cities ago.
Right.
For the A's.
Philadelphia Athletics under Connie Mack. Also, Al Simmons was the big 1-2. They were the 3-4 punch. 2 great Hall of Famers.
Rosario takes curveball for a strike. 0-2. Well, the A's lost last night. They were beaten by the Mariners 8-7. James Paxton came off the DL and pitched 5 really good innings, struck out 10 for Seattle. And the Mariners are up early this afternoon as well. And then tonight, the Astros will face the Angels, and Shohei Ohtani will get the bubble wrap off for the first time since June. He gets to pitch against Garrett Cole tonight in the finale of that series.
What's in his back pocket in that photo with the bat?
Rosario holds the swing, and it's 1-2. I couldn't really
What
answer
the heck
that.
is that?
Probably just his
looks like a hot dog.
like a running glove or something.
Got me.
1-2 coming, and that goes to the backstop. 2-2.
The things that I notice.
Oh, the things that you know. 2-2 to Rosario, and he bounces one to short, and Hansen in front of it. Another low throw. Well, it's 2 of them by Hansen, and Belt has bailed him out both times. 2 out.
Well, Belt is a very good fielder. Got good hands. And Hansen just having a tough time. Those are nice, easy scoops right there. Nice short hop.
That one was easier than the first one.
First one was tough. But there's also style points too. Very smooth. He's a very accomplished first baseman, and that would be Brandon Belt.
Now Jeff McNeil popped to short his first time up. So you've got a bunch of really good first basemen around the league, right? Goldschmidt and Rizzo and Freeman and Hosmer and Belt. Who's your Gold Glove first baseman?
Hosmer. He's the best I've seen down the road in a very, very long time. He's smooth. He's got it all. He would. My dad would grab me if I was a 5-year-old kid and say, "Watch this guy play the bag," like he had me watch Bill White when I was a kid.
And what makes him better than the
He's
others?
just smooth. He's very smooth. There's something a lot of guys stab at the ball and are awkward. Goldschmidt's an awkward first baseman, but he gets the job done. Hosmer's just fluid. It's just he's got it going on.
Now the metrics will tell you that his range may not be as good as some of the others, but that he's great on the scoops.
I haven't. That's the thing. We only play the Padres 6 games, and I don't get to see him enough.
McNeil hooks one into right field, and he's got a 2-strike hit. Boy, he puts his bat on the ball, doesn't
he? Yep. That was a pretty good pitch. Good sharp breaking ball down and over the middle. Not an easy pitch to hit. Watch him go down and get it. Make the adjustment. And just no follow through. Just a little hockey swing, like a little slap shot.
Freeman-esque.
Freeman-esque and a little bit of Richie Hebner. Your fave.
Well, Richie was a terrific player until he got to the Mets. Here's Jay Bruce, who grounded out his first time up. You know, it's been a fairly lost season for Jay Bruce, who had 36 home runs last year, just 4 this season. But looking for a strong finish to try and propel him into 2019. And he pops this one up into shallow center. On comes Blanco a long way in. Shaw as well, and Blanco makes the catch to retire the side. A hit and 1 left. Middle of the third, 2-0 New York. Corner, they're celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Giants' move to San Francisco.
Oh,
there's the home plate from the Polo Grounds from when they left in '57.
Look at the old stitching there.
I mean, could they at least have left home plate for the Mets to use when they got there?
Yes. I didn't think of that.
Of course, the Mets were never supposed to play at the Polo Grounds. They were supposed to have Shea Stadium built by the time they started playing in '62. But, you know, things get delayed, and so they had to play a couple of years in the old yard up in Harlem before they moved to Queens. Chris Shaw leading off in the home third. His second big league start. Had the game-winning RBI on Friday night against Steven Matz, the only run that Matz allowed. Shaw, first-round pick 3 years ago out of Boston College. 24 home runs in AAA this year. He's being counted upon to be a power source in the future for the Giants.
Oh, look at his after this swing. He has got some powerful arms. Look at that. Forearms are huge.
He goes down on the slider for the first out. We'll check in with Steve Gelbs. His report today is brought to you by Volkswagen. I think it's time for Facts of the Franchise.
Gary, you think right. It is Facts of the Franchise, San Francisco Giants edition, and they've had the name Giants since 1885, but that wasn't the original name of this franchise. Originally, they were the New York Gothams. The name switched, legend has it, in 1885 because the manager of the team at the time, Jim Mutry,
ball gets behind Nimmo. He tracks it back to the warning track. Hansen legging his way to third, and he'll be held up there. So Nimmo, who made a brilliant catch coming in to end yesterday's game, comes up empty this time on the diving try, and Hansen winds up with a triple.
Well, this ball was ripped, and Brandon aggressively comes after it. You very seldom see a ball get by Brandon. He just didn't get there. An A for effort.
Now the pitcher Stratton fouls one off.
Very long strides.
Fifth triple of the year for Hansen, and the first hit against Syndergaard this afternoon. Mets have the middle infielders back, even with the pitcher at the plate, because they have a 2-run lead.
Yes, I don't want a big inning with top of the order behind him, Gare.
So Syndergaard gets ahead 0-2 in a spot where he'll be looking for the strikeout. Frazier is holding against the runner at third base, something we've seen this year really for the first time, and the Mets are not the only team doing it. Trying to cut down on that break on contact. And Stratton trying to put it in play, but he fouls off the fastball.
Guys, to wrap up the facts of the franchise really quickly. So Jim Moutrie, apparently the manager in 1885, after a big win, walked up to the guys and in celebration called them my big fellows, my giants, and that's how the name eventually stuck, my Giants.
Huh. I did not know that.
And Stratton just got a piece to stay alive. Well, you know, they may have been the Giants from that point on, but that doesn't mean that's what it always said on their uniforms. You know, John McGraw, after they won the World Series, had the World Champions uniforms made up, and they wore those. So I'm surprised that nickname didn't stuck. They could have been the New York World Champions in perpetuity.
I like the old logo of the Giant. Look at this.
Out to right field. That'll get the run in. Nimmo back to get it. Hansen tags at third. He comes in with the first San Francisco run. Chris Stratton delivers a sacrifice fly, his second RBI of the season. Got the Mets lead to 2-1.
I must say, this Giant crowd, I mean, their team is 6.5 back in the division. They have a better shot at the wild card than they do in the division, and they vice versa. Excuse me. These fans are totally, this whole series have been into this club.
So 2 out and nobody on now. Gregor Blanco. Blanco popped up his first time up.
Don't you feel that, Gary? They clap. They just really cheer their club on. And
well, there's a great love affair with this team, and regardless of where they are in the standings, they've had so much success over this decade with 3 World Series championships. This has become, in some ways, it's become very similar to Wrigley Field in that it's the place to be. It's a hard ticket to get, and people have a good time when they're here.
And, you know, I grew up in the area and the great, you know, Giant teams, but they played at Candlestick and it was cold, and it's just so nice to. The Giants weren't that big a deal. They hit hard times in the 70s. It's just nice to see this kind of enthusiasm.
Blanco pulls one foul. Might have broken his bat. Well, that's the recent history for the Giants. 3 World Series titles this decade. And while they need to do a rebuild here because their team got old all of a sudden as a group, fact of the matter is this is it's a franchise that was built on over this last decade on pitching and timely hitting, and they're still that kind of team.
I mean, this was a franchise that when it was going bad almost moved to Toronto and almost moved to Tampa Bay. And Bob Lowry was the then owner of the Giants, and there was real consideration. I remember them moving to Tampa. Isn't that one of the reasons why that stadium was built in St. Petersburg, Gary?
Either for the Giants or the White Sox. They were both threatening to move, but neither did, and it sat there empty as a white elephant till expansion brought the Rays in. But you know, building this ballpark made an enormous difference. And of course, then they had Barry Bonds as the star attraction.
Yes.
When the ballpark opened in 2000, and he had his record-setting years to follow. And whatever the rest of the baseball world thinks about Barry Bonds, he is beloved here in San Francisco. Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming to Blanco. And Syndergaard tries to dart that outside corner and misses, and now it's 3-2. So a little bump in the road for Syndergaard.
Good eye.
Chief Pitchcast agrees with Kerwin Danley. And Blanco with a half swing goes around on the high fastball. So there's the elevated fastball that Syndergaard has been reluctant to offer. Third strikeout for Noah. 2-1 Mets after 3. Oh, Marichal, what a leg kick.
Well, Cepeda prior. Not a bad player.
Fourth inning, Todd Frazier leads off against Chris Stratton. Frazier drilled a double and scored a run in the second. And he takes low and in from Stratton, a ball and a strike. Conforto and Nimmo to follow. Fouls off the fastball, 2-2.
They even applaud the fans here that make these catches on foul balls.
Slider popped up into shallow center. Blanco circles in onto the real grass and makes the catch. If you're wondering about the grass in center field, they had a concert here a couple of weeks ago. I think it was an Ed Sheeran concert, and the stage and folks on the field tore up all the grass, and they had to replace a huge swath of it with that I don't know, differently shaded sod. I don't know exactly what it is that makes it a different color, but it's a little unsightly. Curveball in for a strike to Conforto. Homered on the first pitch he saw from Stratton in the second inning. 20 home runs for Conforto, who had 27 last year. So he may not get to 27, but he might get fairly close, despite the fact that this has not at all been his best year.
Well, he's strong. And now you notice this at bat, he's getting all the junk, all the off-speed stuff that has kind of befuddled Michael all year. Jumped on a first pitch fastball, hit a bomb.
And he takes the pitch high, and it's 3-1. Brandon Nimmo waiting on deck. And a full count.
Even a 3-1 backdoor slider. They're not going to give him the fastball. They're switching the in. They can't say they're middle infielders, but they're positioned as such.
So you've got a third baseman on the right side of the diamond.
And a shortstop where he should be.
But he was on the other side until 2 strikes.
Right.
Still don't understand.
Especially with no one on.
7th pitch of the at bat. And Conforto hits it right at the shortstop, and Hansen makes a terrific stop. And this time doesn't bounce the throw. So Hansen was in just the right spot to take a base hit away from Conforto. 2 out.
Beautiful backhand on a bullet, which is a good sign from Conforto. Off-speed pitch. Very nice play.
For Hansen, who has not played much shortstop this year and is replacing a Gold Glover there in Brandon Crawford. He turns in a gem.
Right. This is 10th game at shortstop.
Nimmo grounded out to third base his first time up. And now a quick message from City.
Think fast. What? Do what you want to do.
0-2 to Nimmo with 2 out. And he takes just off the corner 1-2. Chris Stratton in one of the best stretches of the season for him. But it'll be interesting to see how he fares as we move through the middle of this game. He comes off a season high 117 pitches his last time out. Through 8 scoreless innings against the Diamondbacks, which is the furthest into a game he's gone all year. And Nimmo bounces one on the left side. Another tough chance for Hansen. And he gets him. Side retired. Back-to-back fine plays by Alan Hansen as he throws out Nimmo to end the inning. Still 2-1 New York. Home fourth inning, Joe Panik leads off against Noah Syndergaard, who yielded a run in the third inning on a triple and a sacrifice fly, and a first pitch curveball to Panik for ball one. Panik grounded out his first time up. Longoria and Belt behind him in the Giants lineup. And it's grounded toward the middle of the diamond, and McNeil is there to field it. One out. Here's a look ahead presented by Wells Fargo. Mets will be in L.A. for the next 3 days. Then they're home to play the Phillies and the Marlins. Look at that. Dodgers are plus 127 run differential, but only 12 games over 500. They have had such a bizarre year. They started out the middle of May. They were 10 games under 500, 16 and 26. Then they went on a terrific run. They went 43 and 20, much like last year. That's nubbed to the right side, and it goes through for a base hit for Longoria. Not hit hard, but he found the space on the right side of the diamond. And Longoria has the Giants' second hit.
Oh boy, he cued it. And very lucky.
Third hit of the series for Longoria, and the Giants have a one-out base runner for Brandon Belt. So the Dodgers righted the ship. So late July, they're in great shape, right? And then they have all their bullpen problems in August, and they go on this 8-15 stretch. And now they've turned it around again, and they've won 7 of their last 8. So go figure which Dodger team will be there when the Mets arrive tomorrow night. But somehow, well, amidst all of the problems they've had, they're 12 games over and tied for first place.
Well, flip a coin. Who's going to win that?
Well, they've gotten clutch hitting the last 2 nights. Justin Turner had the late inning home run to beat the Diamondbacks night before last, and then last night it was Matt Kemp with a 3-run homer in the 8th after the Dodgers had been shut out to that point, and they won 3-2. Mets will miss Kershaw in Los Angeles, but nonetheless will face 3 left-handers, and the Mets have not exactly fared well against left-handed pitching this year. 1-1 to Belt. Here are the city probables. DeGrom in the twilight against Alex Wood tomorrow night. Jason Vargas Tuesday night against Rich Hill. Then another twilight game, a 7:30 Eastern time start on Wednesday with Zach Wheeler against Hyun-Jin Ryu. 2 balls and a strike. The one thing the Dodgers have done well all year is hit home runs. They've got 190 home runs, which is the most in the National League, and they've spread it out. I mean, last year, Cody Bellinger as a rookie had such a fantastic year. He's had a good year this year, but 21 home runs, not 35.
Kind of came back down to earth a little bit, and I felt that, he would to a degree. He is a classic cleanup hitter. He swings for the downs a lot, which is not going to be conducive to a high batting average.
I mean, Max Muncy has 30 home runs for the Dodgers, but he's struggled lately. Well, here's our tweet of the game brought to you by Toyota. Who do you think will win the NL West and why? Use the hashtag SNYTweet. Diamondbacks and Dodgers tied for the lead. The Rockies a half game back, and the Giants still on the periphery, 6.5 out. 2-2 to Belt, who flied out his first time up, and he goes down swinging on the slider. That's the 4th strikeout for Syndergaard. 2 out of the inning.
Low ball hitter and swung right under it.
So 2 out. Longoria still at first, and now Austin Slater, who walked his first time up. Talking about the Dodgers, the one guy who has stayed consistent for them since he's been back from injury, and then his slow start, is Justin Turner. He's got his average up to 316 now, which is about where you'd expect it to be. Slater fouls it off. But the biggest concern for the Dodgers lately has been the bullpen, right? They lost Jansen, then they got him back, then he struggled, but now he's gotten saves each of the last 2 nights. And obviously they need a healthy and effective Kenley Jansen if they're going to go into the postseason or deep within the postseason.
If they're going to get there, they can't have him being erratic.
You know, who was really good for them for a long time was Eric Goodell, the former Met, but now he's out for the year. More elbow problems for Eric. That was always his issue. One and one to Slater. Past the mound, Rosario behind the bag. He'll make the play to first, and that retires the side. A hit and 1 left. After 4 in San Francisco, Mets 2, Giants 1.
The San Francisco Giants 2-1. And guys, you were just talking about the upcoming series against the Dodgers starting tomorrow and how good and consistent Justin Turner has been as of late. Really, since coming off the DL, he has been smoking hot. August 2nd, he's one of the front runners probably for NL Player of the Month. Led the major leagues in August in batting average, on base percentage, and OPS, hitting .410 in August. The second highest batting average in the month of August in the major leagues, 33 points lower by J.D. Martinez.
So Turner will be ready for the Mets.
It's
What
red
else
hot.
is new?
Red hot.
Austin Jackson leading off the 5th inning, and he takes a curveball in the dirt from Stratton. 1-1. Well, speaking of guys who've been red hot, the Brewers beat the Nationals today. Milwaukee sitting in that second wild card spot, and they've got an MVP candidate. Christian Yelich hit a grand slam today. Yelich now has 27 home runs, sitting .316. He's got a .940 OPS. Jackson slices one out to right center. Over goes Blanco, leaves his feet and makes the catch to retire Jackson. 1 out. A lot of people have felt as though Blanco's center field days were behind him, but he makes a nice center field play here.
That ball was kind of slicing away from him. Basically, he had it all the way.
So Jackson retired, 1 out. Now Tomas Nido. I mean, the National League MVP race is overcrowded. There are so many candidates and nobody who has really stood above the pack. I mean, if you just go through the contending teams, right? Freddie Freeman in Atlanta, Javi Baez in Chicago, Matt Carpenter in St. Louis. Grounded down to third. Longoria handles it. And throws out Nito 2 out. Paul Goldschmidt, perennial MVP candidate with the Diamondbacks. Nolan Arenado in Colorado. I mean, you can go on and on.
Yep.
And then you've got the pitchers, right? DeGrom and Nola and Scherzer, all of whom will be in the MVP discussion as well.
I always feel it's tough for a pitcher. I mean, you can't have Scherzer there because the Nationals look like they're not going to get there. I mean, you'd have to win 30 games as a pitcher to be an MVP candidate or win the MVP for a team that didn't get to the postseason.
And yet, a lot of the folks who look at things like wins above replacement are saying that the pitcher candidates are more deserving than the hitter candidates.
Well, okay.
Syndergaard grounded out his first time up, and he goes after a high fastball, 1-2. So it's an interesting conversation just because there are so many candidates with such different credentials.
Right.
Even a guy like Lorenzo Cain, who has contributed defensively so well for the Brewers, he may be a candidate. Syndergaard strikes out. Second strikeout for Stratton. We are halfway through in San Francisco. Always work from the bottom up, Keith.
Almost.
September 9th is the McDonald's Family Sunday, and that's next Sunday. Mets take on the Phillies at 1:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Mets Chip Bowl, courtesy of Haynes Celestial. Plus, all kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game in the Mr. Med Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. You know, looking ahead to that Phillies series, remember DeGrom and Nola and Scherzer were all on the same day these last couple of starts. The Phillies moved up Nola to pitch today, which is unfortunate because it means that DeGrom and Nola probably will not go head to head in that weekend series.
Yes.
They'll both pitch, but probably not against each other.
Wonder that would have been really a nice matchup, and Nola's already beaten Scherzer prior.
Faced him twice in a row. Yep. Here's Nick Hundley, who grounded into a double play his first time up. Syndergaard working with a 2-1 lead as we start the bottom of the fifth. And Hundley takes a slider off the plate for ball one. So Nick Hundley will do the bulk of the catching, one would assume, down the stretch for the Giants after serving as the backup to Buster Posey for most of the year. Posey out after season-ending hip surgery. That's driven toward the gap in left center, but cutting across is Jackson. He reaches up to grab it. A bullet off the bat of Hundley, but Jackson positioned well for the first out. Buster Posey was going to have a chance this year if he had stayed healthy through the full season to become the Giant catcher with the most games caught in franchise history, going all the way back to the New York Gotham's days in the 1880s. Posey has caught 886 regular season games for the Giants, and I was shocked, Keith, as Shaw breaks his bat and flies one out to Nimmo in right field, and that's the second out. I was shocked when I read who holds the Giants record for games caught.
Former Met manager?
Yeah, Wes Westrom, who was with the Giants from 1947 through 57 and later became the second manager in Mets history in 1965. He caught the most games in Giants history.
And for a franchise that's storied as the Giants are, their offensive players, the catcher hasn't been, that position hasn't been one of their big guns. They've always been known for their outfield. There's Buster.
Well, when you were growing up in the 60s, Tom Haller was their mainstay behind the plate.
Actually, Ed Bailey. Prior to that, then Haller came in, and then Dick Dietz. Dick Dietz, of course, was the batter when Drysdale was going for the consecutive scoreless streak in Dodger Stadium when he got hit, and Harry Windelstadt was the home plate umpire. It brought him back and said you didn't try to get out of the way of the pitch, and the streak continued.
But none of those guys caught more games than Wes Westrom, who, when he was Mets manager, liked to refer to close games as cliff dwellers. 2-1 Mets after 5. We go to the 6th inning in San Francisco. This game feeling like all the other games in this series. Both starting pitchers pitching very well. It's a sun-splashed afternoon in San Francisco. Just a perfect day for a game. Third time around the Mets batting order. Ahmed Rosario leads off against Chris Stratton, who starts him with a curveball for a strike. Rosario's 0 for 2, and he's grounded out into both of his at-bats. McNeil and Bruce to follow against Stratton, who's given up only 3 hits, but one of them a 2-run homer to Conforto in the second, and that has the Mets in front. Rosario bounces one foul, and it's 0-2. I'm talking with Mickey Callaway today about Rosario's future as a leadoff hitter, and he said with his ability to put the ball in play and his speed, he could profile as a leadoff hitter if he can get his on-base percentage up. Another chance for Hansen, who has sparkled today. That one-hop throw handled by Belt, and they get Rosario.
I don't know
if Belt was still on the bag.
I don't think Belt was still on the bag. I do not. And Hansen really does not have the arm for shortstop. What we've seen today.
Certainly has flashed the glove. And let's see if the Mets challenge the call. Bruce Dreckman said that Belt was on the bag, and let's see if he was. Hard to tell from that angle, and the Mets are not going to challenge the call.
Really? Let's see. Oh yeah.
Did he still have the toe on? I don't think so, but it's hard to tell. Neither one of the angles we saw was definitive, and the Mets probably didn't feel in their replay room that there was anything that would definitively overturn the call.
Probably want to keep that ace up their sleeve.
Let's see on this one. Does that toe stay on?
That is as close as it gets.
Yeah, it's real close. McNeil flies one foul down the right side. 0-1.
He might have beat it out, Garrett. I mean, it could have gone either way. It's a close play all the way around.
Well, that's 3 times today that Belt has pulled balls out of the dirt on throws by Hansen. But Hansen has also made 3 sparkling pickups to get outs. So that connection has worked well for the Giants today. McNeil had the last Mets hit. He singled to right field in the 3rd inning. Stratton's retired 8 in a row since then with some good defense behind him. And an easy play this time for Panic. And that takes care of McNeil. 2 out. Let's check in with the studio. Gary Apple has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Gary? All right, Gary. Nola at 2.23, Scherzer 2.22, and then of course there's DeGrom at 1.68 as the lead stretches. Jay Bruce is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and flied out. Nola did strike out 11 today in 5 2/3. Our buddy Tom McCarthy said he had no changeup today, and that's why Nola struggled.
Well, that's a big weapon for him.
Phillies started the day 3 games back of the Braves at the top of the National League East. Braves are playing right now against the Pirates, and they're down 1-0 early on. There's the NL East after the Phillies lost 3.5 games behind.
Well, it's right there for Atlanta. If they can just get out of their doldrum.
You see who had the big pinch hit double in the midst of the Braves' 8th inning rally last night? Lucas Duda. Deadline pickup by Atlanta.
Always wish Lucas well.
Bruce flies one out to center. Back a few strides Blanco and puts it away on the warning track to retire the side. That's 10 in a row retired by Chris Stratton, but it's Syndergaard and the Mets who have the lead. Oh, man's best friend. Streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Well, this is a little surprising. The Giants are going to take Chris Stratton out for a pinch hitter. 1-run game, 6th inning. Hunter Pence will bat for Stratton.
Well, I guess you're losing by a run. If you were up by a run, I would question it more.
And Pence takes a curveball for a strike. Pence started in left field yesterday, went 0 for 3 and a walk.
We talked about Pence's diminished playing time. This is his 35th pinch hit of the season.
Ray Black up in the Giants bullpen. Back-to-back curveballs from Syndergaard, a ball and a strike.
He has become the #1 pinch hitter for the Giants, the most at bats off the pine.
See the perspective from the on the field bullpens. Something you just don't see very often anymore. Syndergaard got through 5 innings with 58 pitches, working with a 1-run lead in the 6th. Gregor Blanco on deck, and then Joe Panik, and the curveball popped up foul. That'll go out of play. 2-2. Well, the Toyota tweet of the game, we asked who would win the NL West. Diamondbacks because of their multiple jerseys.
Really?
Really? You win because of ugly uniforms? That's a terrible reason. Dodger Dogs. Okay, so basically we've got a bunch of comedians tweeting us today. Pence grounds one foul. Okay, who's going to say the Rockies? Arenado's arm. Okay, and Blackman's beard. Blackbeard.
Yes.
All righty. Well, thank you guys for contributing. That was really helpful. I mean, were there some like baseball responses too? Did we edit those out? I'm told from the truck that on Labor Day weekend we didn't get a lot of serious responses. It was mostly in that vein. Frankly, if you went by uniforms, the Diamondbacks would finish 50 games out. Especially those road unis.
Oh,
yuck. Yuck. Look like they're wearing pajamas. By the way, speaking of being 50 games out, you see the Orioles lost their 97th game today. 40 and 97. They're now 54 games out of first place.
They're going to lose over 110 games, maybe 115.
Yep. Moving in on those 2003 Tigers, who lost 119. Pence with a half swing went around on the slider, and that's 6 strikeouts for Syndergaard. 1 out in the 6th.
Yes, he did. He broke the wrist.
So now Syndergaard will start his 3rd time through the batting order as he takes on Gregor Blanco. Blanco has popped up and struck out today, 0 for 2. Bluffing at a bunt, and he takes the first pitch curveball for a strike. So Syndergaard has started off both hitters in this inning with a first pitch curveball. Blanco fouls off the slider. 0-2. Giants felt as though they had found the answer in center field with young Steve Duggar, but he hurt his shoulder, had surgery, and he's out for the year. And so Gorky Hernandez has been playing most of the center field, and Blanco today. And Blanco shoots one down the left field line, just foul.
0-2, that sinker away. I just do not like that pitch. 0-2 when a hitter's protecting the plate.
Blanco just finding out it was foul. He legged that all the way to second base. But clearly foul. Oh, he stepped on the mound on his way back to the home plate.
Does that count as a visit?
You know, remember the whole A-Rod Dallas Braden controversy a few years ago? Alex cut across the mound, and Braden got all peeved about it. I don't think Noah's that unhappy. And Blanco shoots a hard shot to Bruce, who puts it on his hip and takes it to the bag. 2 out. Nicely done by Bruce, still learning his way around first base.
Yeah, showing some good hands here. We olayed it. All that was missing was the red cape.
Toro. Well, you better get comfortable there.
Nice play.
7 in a row retired by Syndergaard. Here's Panic, who twice has grounded out to second base today. And he takes a changeup for ball 1. And Panic rolls another one to the right side. Easier play for Bruce this time. And another 1-2-3 inning for Syndergaard. He's set down 8 in a row. He leads 2-1 after 6. Golden Gate Bridge, downtown San Francisco behind it.
Yep.
That is just gorgeous.
That's over to your right is where the Presidio is, and the marina, really lovely up in those hills there. Beautiful views.
On the road, brought to you by Old Dominion. Well, of course, you know it's the home of the cable car. But did you know the cable car is a National Historic Monument and the only one that can move? That the first electric TV was invented here in San Francisco, and that the Beatles held their final concert at Candlestick Park.
Really?
Yeah, they were done. Well, that doesn't count the rooftop one in London. That doesn't count as a concert. Ray Black is on to pitch for the Giants in the 7th. Todd Frazier takes ball 1. Black just recalled yesterday. Did some work for the Giants earlier this year. Hard-throwing right-hander out of the University of Pittsburgh, which has not produced a lot of notable big league players. I was looking over the list. I think Doc Medich probably has the most prolific big league career among Pitt Panthers.
And Doc Medich pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And the Mets.
Faced Doc a few times.
Frazier had a double back in the 2nd, scored a run. He's flied out 1 for 2. And Black finds the outside corner at 98 miles an hour. Chris Stratton threw just 74 pitches over 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits, no walks, 2 strikeouts, a home run. They pulled him for a pinch hitter, and now the Giants into their bullpen. And Frazier greets Black with a liner down the line for his second extra base hit of the day. And Todd cruises into second base with a leadoff double. So he starts the 7th inning the way he started the 2nd inning, by pulling a 2-base hit. And now Michael Conforto and his 3 longest home runs of the year, brought to you by StatCast AI, powered by Amazon Web Services. This was one of his 3 longest, not as long as the one he hit on the ledge in Chicago earlier on this road trip. So he is unloading this week 2 of his 3 longest home runs of the year. That home run has supplied all the runs for the Mets today, his 20th home run of the season. And the breaking ball from Black misses for ball 1. Conforto was robbed of a base hit. A nice play by Hansen his last time up. A bullet to Hansen's right that he was able to handle. Giants not playing the shift against Conforto this time with the hard thrower Black on the mound, the way they did with the softer tossing Stratton. And that's hit past the mound, and Hansen with another great pickup and throws him out. What a day he's having. That looked like a sure base hit, but Hansen with a beautiful sit spin, and he gets Conforto as Frazier moves to 3rd.
Well, this is just a really terrific play once again, playing him Michael up the middle. And you can see the frustration from Michael. He's hit the ball hard 3 times today and only has the 2-run home run to show for it, which is a good sign.
They're saying that Black deflected that ball. They're calling it 1-6-3. I'm not sure he touched it at all.
You know what? It's 6-3 in my scorecard.
Infield in for Nimmo, and he fouls off a first pitch fastball. So although Conforto was frustrated, it proves to be a productive out as Hansen goes sprawling.
Well, Hansen's got a good glove, that's for sure. Good quickness, very athletic.
Hansen made a nice play on Nimmo, Brandon's last time up, and he takes the curveball out of the strike zone, 1-1.
I mean, it's a possible squeeze situation, and probably not with the Mets and Nimmo. And you've got the infield where a belt at first base and the right of your screen is deeper than anybody on the infield, and that's a corner position. And you think just to be safe, you'd have the corners in on the cut of the grass.
Well, I would think about the squeeze with Nimmo only because of his propensity to strike out. Right? He's got 123 strikeouts this year, and you'd love in this situation to make sure that he makes contact. So squeeze is a nice choice. Taken high as Hundley faked the throw down to 3rd, and Frazier scrambled back, and now it's 3-1 to Nimmo. Six out of 12 getting at runner in from 3rd. Now he's up in the count, 3-1. That's trying to add to a 2-1 lead in the 7th. Frazier at 3rd and 1 out. And Nimmo takes a hack at a slider and misses, 3-2.
Ball 4, tough pitch to lay off, hard slider. This has really become a behind the count secondary pitch league.
And there's ball 4. He went right back to the breaking ball, and he walks Nimmo to put runners at the corners. And we told you Hundley was working on his blocking before the game.
Well, also he's one of the best defensive catchers I've seen. He's just really, that's not an easy one right there. Look at him just use his body. He knows what he's doing.
That's why you put in the work, right? So now the Giants can drop the infield back to double play depth. First and third one out. Austin Jackson the batter. Jackson hit one to right center that Blanco made a nice play on his last time. And the fastball up and in from Black, whose control certainly appears to be erratic. Black walked only 6 batters in 16 innings. His first go around with the Giants. This is now his 17th big league game. 28-year-old rookie. Frazier at third, Nimmo at first with 1 out. Yesterday the Giants bullpen held the Mets in check for 4 innings before the Mets finally broke through against Hunter Strickland in the 11th. That's quite the pantheon right there. And Jackson takes a slider for a strike, 1-1. Jackson 2 for 10 in this series against his old team. Giants are going to get some further bullpen action going. Sam Dyson heading down to the bullpen.
Yeah, this game is close to getting away from the Giants.
And Jackson grounds one down to third, might be 2. Longoria to second, Panic on to first for the double play, and the side retired. So the Giants get out of trouble. Black induces the double play ball. Longoria gets it started. Quick turn by Panic. Stretch time, still 2-1 New York. Three weeks as he makes his move to try and blow by Juan Soto in that Rookie of the Year race. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Spectrum. Hey, Mets fans, get the best TV, internet, and voice service today at Spectrum.com. By Hyundai. At Hyundai, the longer you look, the more there is to like. And right now, there's a lot to see at your Hyundai dealer. And by Aetna Medicare Solutions, Medicare that takes a total approach to health and wellness. Hey, parents, you could join us in the booth to call half an inning of a Mets game on SNY. Just go to sny.tv/KidCaster and enter your child's video audition for a chance to win the 2018 SNY KidCaster contest. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Noah Syndergaard trying to do something that no Mets starting pitcher has done since Steve Traxel in 2003. And that is beat the Giants twice in one season.
Really?
They beat him at Citi Field 11 days ago. And he's got a 2-1 lead in the 7th today. Just 72 pitches in 6 innings for Noah, doing a great job keeping his pitch count down. They'll get 3, 4, and 5 in the Giants batting order. Longoria, Belt, and Slater in the 7th. Giants have played great defense today to keep this game close. And Belt has had a lot to do with that. Blanco made a nice play, but their shortstop, Alan Hansen, has probably been the most important factor.
I mean, he's made some spectacular plays to his left and right.
His throws haven't always been on target, but Belt has helped him out there.
See the importance of having a good glove at first base.
Really? Never realized that before.
Fielders have the confidence that they can throw it in the dirt, and it's not going to be an E6 or an E5 or an E4.
Longoria launches one out to center. Playable though for Jackson. Back onto the warning track to grab it. 1 out. This is not a good home run hitter's ballpark. And if you look at the numbers, the only ballpark this year where it's been tougher to hit a home run is Marlins Park in Miami. Now, of course, you know, some of it has to do with the teams that are on the field, right?
Sure.
How good is your pitching? How good a home run hitting team are you? But fewest home runs have been hit at Marlins Park. The second fewest here in San Francisco. Tropicana Field in St. Pete is third. Here's Brandon Belt, who's 0 for 2. He's flied out and struck out. But, you know, it's been consistently that way since this ballpark opened, despite the feats of strength that Bonds displayed when the park first opened. It's funny because remember when the ballpark first opened, I think it was the first series of the year, Kevin Elster came in here and hit 3 home runs. I think it was it the first game or the second game? It was one of the first few games that was played here, and everybody thought, oh, it's going to be a home run haven. Kevin Elster's hitting 3 home runs in a game. Roll to the right side. Bruce ranging wide, and his throw goes behind Syndergaard. Backed up by Nito. Did he take the turn? He might have, but Belt gets back safely. Well, the inexperience of Bruce. He did a nice job ranging wide to get that ball, but his throw not even close to on the money.
Well, look, there's no reason for him to go to his right with the big shift on with McNeil in the outfield right there, which that is just inexperience.
Still, if he makes a good throw, he's got him by plenty.
I understand, but he didn't have to go there. I mean, that's one thing you can, if they're backing, if you're putting 3 guys on the shift to the right side, then you don't have to cover to your left so much. You can be more conscious of the ball down the line.
And Belt definitely made the turn, and Nito alertly threw behind him, but Belt got back to the bag. Austin Slater takes inside for ball 1. So it's an error on Bruce. That's second error in this series. And now Nito's going to go out and talk to Syndergaard after he threw that first pitch in tight to Slater. That's a work in progress for Jay. Made a nice play today, and now makes a poor throw.
It's
and
inexperience.
Opens the door. Yep.
Inexperience. And I'm sure that they will tell him, look, they'll show what we showed you in your home, folks, that, you know, you've got McNeil behind you. There's no reason to worry to your right.
Well, especially when you're in a shift the way the Mets were against Bell.
Exactly. See, I wouldn't like that because I loved going to my right.
Slater has walked and grounded out today, 0 for 1. Tying run at first with 1 out. Mets open their series in Los Angeles tomorrow night. It's a 5 o'clock game local time, 8 o'clock New York time. Our coverage begins at 7:30 tomorrow night. Jacob deGrom on the mound tomorrow against Alex Wood. And Syndergaard misses away, and now he's behind on Slater 2-0. Noah's walked 1 today, struck out 6. He's been ahead in the count most of the day. He's done a masterful job of mixing his pitches today. That's been the big difference from Noah right from the beginning.
He's pitched.
But he unleashes a 2-0 fastball, and it's fouled back. Just for reference, Noah threw 102 pitches in 6 innings his last start in Chicago. Here he is with 1 out in the 7th at just 80 pitches. And he gets the slider over for a strike, and it's 2-2. Yeah, it was the first regular season game at what was then known as Pac Bell Park, and Kevin Elster came in here with the Dodgers, hit 3 home runs. Apparently there was a jet stream out to left field that day, but that was an aberration. Home runs have been very hard to come by here. Slater bounces one foul. In the National League Central today, the Cubs have won, the Brewers have won. The Cardinals are now down in the 10th inning. The Reds put up 3 spots in the top of the 10th. And after St. Louis lost to Cincinnati yesterday, they're down 6-3 in the 10th today. They could fall out of second place. 2-2 coming, and it's fouled back. The Cardinals and Brewers came into the day with the top 2 wild card spots, but they could flip in the standings if the Cardinals don't rally in the bottom of the 10th. So after going 22-6 in August, St. Louis in danger of falling to 0-2 in September.
Can't stay that hot forever, Garrett. And that is just.
But they may have to.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they run out of gas.
7th pitch to Slater, and he gets a piece of that slider and fouls it off. Slater, slider.
Slater needs a fastball up and in for a strike.
Hardest working at bat of the day for Syndergaard. Belt at first and 1 out. He takes off. Slater strikes out. No throw by Nito. So Belt steals the base as Slater strikes out for the 2nd out. 3rd stolen base of the year for Belt. 2 out in the inning.
Stayed with the slider. And this is what you talked about, Gary, that bait slider. That was a great angle right there, folks. Give you an idea, although you can't really doesn't really depict the velocity and how quickly you have to decide as a hitter, but you certainly saw how that ball came out of the hand and came out of strike and broke into the dirt. That's a bait slider.
So runner in scoring position with 2 down. Here's Nick Hundley, who lined out to center his last time up. And he grounds one down to third. Frazier's got it. And that retires the side. Syndergaard works around the error by Bruce and has the Mets in the lead as we go to the 8th. 2-1 New York. Center. The Mets have scored only 4 runs in this series, but they might have a chance to win the series. They got a 2-run homer from Michael Conforto today in the 2nd inning, and that has stood up so far. That's with a 2-1 lead going to the 8th. Drive around the majors presented by Audi. John Lester gave up 8 hits but held the Phillies scoreless for 6. Aaron Nola gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3. Cubs beat the Phillies. Christian Yelich hit a grand slam, and the Brewers beat the Nats. And the Pirates and Braves tied 1-1 in the 3rd. Ronald Acuna, his 7th leadoff home run in his rookie season. Boy, they love bringing the dogs out on the water, don't they?
Why no? Dogs love the water. They love to swim. Most dogs.
Yeah, not all. Trust me on that.
It's just the cats. Haji wouldn't like that.
Sam Dyson in for the 2nd straight day for the Giants.
And there are his numbers. Having a good year, the veteran.
Worked a scoreless inning in yesterday's game. He'll face 8, 9, and 1 in the Mets order. Nido, Syndergaard, and Rosario. Nido's 0 for 2. A couple of ground ball outs. Chris Stratton worked 6 effective innings, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits. Ray Black fortunate to get out of trouble in the 7th after a leadoff double.
Almost looks like that knee will need surgery with that stance at the end of the year.
Does look a little awkward, but he pokes it the other way, and Nido's got a base hit to start the Mets in the 8th inning. So the 2nd straight inning, the Mets have had a leadoff hit against the Giants bullpen.
Just a little slap, Garrett. I'll say it.
I heard you say it.
Just a little bit let go with one hand. There you go.
And it works out perfectly for the Mets because now Syndergaard can come up and try to sacrifice an insurance run over.
Absolutely.
Syndergaard had 87 pitches through 7 innings, so there was no question that he was going to take the turn at bat here in the 8th. Noah has never gone beyond 8 innings in his major league career. Last time he pitched here at AT&T Park, in fact the only other time he threw 8 scoreless innings, that was 2 years ago. And he's going to try to get through 8 innings today. He's got 2 sacrifices for the year. Longoria crashing and Syndergaard swinging.
I like
the Butcher
that.
Boy and came up empty, nothing in 1.
Look how shallow the middle infielders are, Gary. That's, to me, on a bunt play, that's leaving it too exposed for the Butcher Boy. There's no need to really shorten up that way on a sacrifice.
Well, Longoria not charging quite as hard this time after that 1 cut. And this time Noah gets the bunt down. Play at second. Nope.
Oh.
Dyson settles for the sure out. Looked like he had a play at second, but the sacrifice is successful. 1-4, and now Nido's in scoring position.
Dyson hesitated to come after the ball. It looked like to me. No, not really. I was mistaken. It was an optical illusion because I.
Boy, Nido got a great break. I was surprised looking at the replay how little space Dyson had, and probably made the right play going to first.
I thought with the ball bunted so hard that we're going to get the force.
So now Nido at second with 1 out. Here's Rosario, who's been up 3 times, grounded out all 3. Hansen made a great play to get him the last time. And he grounds one toward the hole. That's a base hit. Nido had to hold up. He'll go to third and stop there. So Rosario with his first hit of the day. And the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out.
First ball. Fastball hitting right there. Nido doesn't run well, but you got to make sure the ball's through, and that's the proper thing to do.
So now McNeil will try and get the run in. Jeff has had only 1 opportunity in his brief major league career with a runner at third with less than 2 out, and he was successful. He bats here, first and third, 1 out. He's 1 for 3 on the day. And he takes on the inside corner from Dyson, 0-1.
How did he get number 68?
Well, it was probably a spring training number, Keith, and
I guess 67 was already taken. I mean, there are more numbers in the 60s and 70s than we've ever seen before.
I know.
mean, Gesellman 65 and Lugo 67 and McNeil 68. It's weird because I was watching on TV the Cardinals today, and Luke Weaver's pitching. He's wearing number 7. So you got pitchers wearing single numbers, position players wearing offensive lineman numbers.
It's really out of line, the pitchers.
Nothing makes any sense.
Out of line.
There goes Rosario, and no throw by Hundley. Rosario steals second, and that takes the double play out of order. And the Mets now have 2 in scoring position. Stolen base number 17 for Rosario.
A good time to steal.
Now that forces the Giants to bring the infield in. You got first base open with Bruce on deck.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be walking McNeil.
No, you go after the rookie in this situation. This is a nice situation for the youngster.
Off speed pitch outside from Dyson. It's 2-1.
Showing a lot of patience here. I just really like what I see from McNeil as far as his approach at the plate, his knowledge of the strike zone.
Callaway said yesterday that McNeil may be as fundamentally sound a player as the Mets have. Nita at third, Rosario at second with 1 out. And McNeil lines one up the middle, a base hit. Nito is in. Here comes Rosario around third. He will score. It's a 2-run single for Jeff McNeil, and the Mets get the insurance they were looking for. It's 4-1 New York in the 8th.
Well,
another feather in the cap of Jeff McNeil as 11th and 12th runs batted in.
He was led off with a fastball, but inside corner. Started out 2 inches inside. Now they want to try it again. And look what happened. Just bled right over the middle and down right into Jeff's wheelhouse. And to his credit, that was a pitch to really tear into, but stay. Oh, base hit was needed to make it 4-1 and stayed within himself. Well done. Well done.
Pitch out. McNeil's not going anywhere. Well, Rosario's stolen base gave the Mets a chance to score 2 on that play.
Well, any base hit that's not a frozen rope is going to. Rosario should score from second with his wheels, and he does, standing up.
He's been stealing more and more bases second half of the year, and that one pays off in an extra run. So the Mets now with a 3-run lead. And Bruce takes inside. Hundley did well to keep that from going to the backstop. And it's 2-0. Jay is 0 for 3 today. He's grounded out and flied out twice. Mets now with 4 runs and 7 hits. Here's Hundley on that last play. Coming up tonight at 11 o'clock, Geico Sports Night. Aaron Nola took a little stumble in the Cy Young race today. There's football news, and of course the U.S. Open continues. All tonight, Geico Sports Night, 11 o'clock, right here on SNY. 2-1 to Bruce with Frazier on deck. And Jay chasing a pitch out of the strike zone. It's 2-2.
Yeah, Jay's been a little jumpy at the plate, Gare. Just hasn't found his rhythm yet there. He just kind of out in front of a pitch that never even started out as a strike. Just a little quick.
Dyson's faced 4 hitters, given up 3 hits and a sacrifice. Not a good day at the office for him. 2-2 to Bruce, and he chases for strike 3. He went back to the same cutter, away and down. Dyson has his first strikeout, and there are 2 out of the inning.
Well, he just more or less said if he's going to do that and swing at that pitch down there, as Todd steps in, Todd Frazier, I'm going to keep on throwing it. And Jays just hasn't found it. He's not in sync.
So 2 out now. Frazier, who's had a good day at the plate, a pair of doubles, and he scored a run. McNeil takes off. Hundley's throw is too late, and McNeil has a stolen base, his 4th of the year. So the Mets have stolen twice in the inning.
So you Met fans sitting at home, aren't you a little bit excited about this new brand of ball the Mets have been playing? speed at the top with Rosario and McNeil and Nimmo with the middle of the order traditionally to drive in these guys. I find it very fun to watch.
I just think it's interesting because earlier in the year, if you'll remember, the Mets had Cespedes hitting second. They had Conforto hitting second. They had big boppers in the number 2 hole. Now all of a sudden you got a speed guy up top, a contact hitter in the 2 hole, a very traditional lineup look.
Well, we talked earlier before the game, Gary. I never can put my arms around in the National League with no DH.
That's grounded in the hole. Another chance for Hansen. The running throw on a hop and another scoop by Belt.
Wow.
That has been the best part of the Giants game today has been the Hansen-Belt connection. And it gets them through the inning.
I wonder if Belt's hurt.
It was an awkward stretch for the baby giraffe. But McNeil's hit plates a couple of runs and Belt saves another error. Well, Syndergaard will be trying to put the hammer down in the bottom of the 8th. This guy's prepared.
Well, Noah this is the best I've seen him as far as being a pitcher today.
He's allowed just 2 hits over the first 7 innings, struck out 6. Chris Shaw leads off against him in the home 8th and goes after a first pitch changeup, 0-1. Shaw has struck out, broken his bat and flied out, 0 for 2. Daniel Zamora, Drew Smith heading toward the bullpen mound. Syndergaard trying to get through 8 innings.
Oh, how about try to get through 90? How many pitches he got now? That's the miles per hour.
89.
Hey,
it's not bad.
Get him 9. First complete game of his career.
He has not thrown more than 7 innings more than 7 1/3 this season. He's not gone more than 8 in his career. And he takes care of Shaw with the slider to strike out the 8th. That's 8 strikeouts for Syndergaard. Second time he's gotten Shaw today. So 1 out, and now Alan Hansen, who scored the only Giants run in this game. He tripled past a diving Nimmo in right field in the 3rd and came home on a sacrifice fly by the pitcher Stratton, and that's been it. Corners in against Hansen. And he bluffs the bunt and takes up and away for ball 1. Chase Darno is out on deck to pinch hit for the Giants with the pitcher's spot due up next. So Syndergaard 7 1/3. He's matched his longest outing of the year. His high pitch count of the season was 115. He did that in Philadelphia in the middle of August. So if he could have a relatively quick eighth, he could certainly pitch the ninth and stay within 115. But he's got to get there first. Here's d'Arnaud on deck. 1-1 to Hansen, and he gets the breaking ball in for a strike. 1-2.
83-mile-per-hour, Gary. I haven't seen that kind of a off-speed breaking ball. That's a nice pitch for him against a left-hander only, and make sure it's on the outside corner.
1-2 coming. And he misses away. 2-2. Noah has walked 1. He's struck out 8. Allowed 1 run and 2 hits. Two coming to Hansen. Breaking ball fouled off. Always good to have the protector when you have the bullpen mounds on the field.
Reminds me, well, so much of Wrigley Field when I played.
Tim Peterson, Mr. Protector. 2-2, and it's bounced down to first. Bruce, tough hop, tough play, out at first base. Not sure whether we're going to see that one challenged.
I think it's an out. O-U-T, Gare, with a capital O.
Well, Bruce had to bat it around a couple of times. Did Syndergaard beat Hansen?
Yes,
he did. Eagle eye, Keith Hernandez.
I've made that play a million times. I know.
Bruce Dreckman got the call right. Syndergaard beat him to the bag by an eyelash, and that's the second out. So Syndergaard has now gone deeper into this game than he has any this year. He had gone 7 1/3 against the Cardinals back in April, and now 7 2/3 today. There's that play at first again. Syndergaard's foot getting to the cushion right before Hansen. So now Chase d'Arnaud to pinch hit. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Noah's still throwing 98 on his 97th pitch of the day.
Tough assignment when you've got a guy like Syndergaard out there and you've been sitting the whole game. Seems like Noah has found his rhythm, something we don't see today because of pitch counts. Pitchers getting stronger as they go along, and really when they sense victory, sense it, and they find their rhythm and they really go out and shut the door. That's the one part of the pitching part of the game I really miss.
And d'Arnaud goes after a curveball and misses, and it's 0-2. Chase d'Arnaud, first appearance in this series. 1 for 6 as a pinch hitter this year. And quickly down to the count to Syndergaard. 0-2. Slider off the plate. 1-2. There aren't many complete games anymore.
That's just. I want to make this point, Garrett. This is, Syndergaard's always been a one pitch speed pitcher. Only his changeup is the off speed. He's starting to throw late here, the slow breaking ball.
And he strikes out d'Arnaud with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball for his 9th strikeout of the day. Noah goes 8 for the first time this season, and this was the dominant start he was looking for. 2 hits through 8 innings with 9 strikeouts, and no chance. 4-1 Mets going to the 9th. Ninth inning, Ty Block on to pitch for the Giants. Block worked in the opening game of the series, worked a 1-2-3 inning. Michael Conforto leads off against him. Conforto provided the keynote in this game with a 2-run homer in the second inning, his 20th home run of the year. And Noah Syndergaard has pretty much done the rest.
This is the good as good as I've seen Conforto swing the bat in quite a while for 4 consecutive at bats.
Well, Syndergaard did not get handshakes in the dugout when he came in, and there's nobody up in the Mets bullpen as Conforto takes a call, 3rd strike, 1 out. So it looks like Syndergaard will get a chance to take them out in the 9th. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on WB Mason Post Game Live. Gary and Nelson. Here's Brandon Nimmo.
We kind of hang with that music a little bit long there, didn't we?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, my favorite song. It's been on the top 20 for like 13 years.
We really have not changed the music since the network came on the air, have we? There's a strike, 2-1 to Nimmo.
Sometimes I go home and go to bed and it just goes over and over in my mind as I try to go to sleep.
It's like counting sheep. Humming the SNY theme. And Block misses with a breaking ball, and it's 3-1. Nimmo's 0 for 2 and a walk today. Austin Jackson on deck, and Nimmo takes it high and he walks for a 2nd straight time. So the Mets have a 1-out base runner. Weeknights at 6, catch up on all the local baseball activity as our panel of insiders breaks down the latest Mets and Yankees news on Baseball Night in New York, presented by Tri-State Cadillac Dealers. Weeknights at 6, only on SNY. So 1 out and 1 on the top of the 9th, and now Austin Jackson, who's gone 0 for 3 today, had an RBI chances last time up. 1st and 3rd 1 out, but grounded into an inning-ending double play. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, the Giants will have the top of the batting order. Blanco, Panic, and Longoria due up against Syndergaard, and there is not a hint of action in the Mets bullpen. Noah will be bidding for his first ever Major League complete game. Fly ball out to right center, and back in the gap goes Slater, and he runs it down. Jackson hit that ball well, but toward the deepest part of the ballpark. Triples alley at AT&T Park, and it's a long 2nd out.
Yeah, there's no money out there, as we used to say. If you hit it in the air, if you're going to hit it into that 421, you better hit a little gapper line drive.
So 2 out. Nimmo still at first, and now Tomas Nido got the Mets rally started in the 8th with an opposite field single. Came around to score on Jeff McNeil's 2-run base hit that stretched the Mets lead, and he goes after a first pitch sinker, 0-1. Well, Syndergaard is due up next, and here he comes out of the dugout, helmet on and bat in hand.
Good.
And that gets a cheer from the Met fans in attendance, just the sight of him in the on-deck circle. In fact, there's a guy wearing a Syndergaard shirt sitting in the seat closest to where Syndergaard's standing on deck.
You're right.
Those are the photographers behind him.
Yep, it's to the right, that young man or gentleman.
He's younger than we are, Keith. Right center field, folding fast. Slater dives and makes the catch. Austin Slater makes a play going away, makes a play coming in. And Syndergaard will not get to bat in the 9th. Instead, he'll get to pitch in the 9th. Looking for his first big league complete game. 4-1 New York. complete games are a rarity in baseball now. 37 of them in the majors this year, 12 in the National League, 25 in the American League. Noah Syndergaard has never gone past 8 1/3 innings in his major league career. He'll try and go 9 today. Gregor Blanco leads off the last of the ninth for San Francisco and takes the first pitch breaking ball down for ball 1.
Blanco had a really good at bat. His last at bat hit a bullet at Jay Bruce at first.
And Blanco pops up the bunt attempt. It'll come foul back into the stands. 1-1. Joe Panik on deck, and then Evan Longoria for the Giants, who haven't had a hit since Longoria's opposite field single in the 4th inning. Only 2 hits for the Giants today. The other one was Hansen's triple that led to their only run in the 3rd. One to Blanco, and he goes after a changeup and misses. 1-2.
You see what I'm saying, though, Garrett? When you go deeper into a game, Syndergaard now from the 7th inning on has just found his rhythm.
He was throwing 99 in the 8th inning. And he has mixed his pitches brilliantly today, working with the young catcher Tomas Nido. Blanco fouls back a slider and stays in there at 1-2. Mickey Callaway was praising Nido for his work catching Steven Matz yesterday, and that's one of the reasons he got back-to-back starts. And he has handled Syndergaard just as well today. 1-2 coming. Bounce foul. Another play for the protector. Bullpen staying busy just in case. More of the left-hander, Smith the right-hander. Noah's pitch count high this year was 115. He's at 105 now. And he gets Blanco looking at 99 on the inside black for his 10th strikeout of the day.
Well, that 2-strike fastball in is always a tough pitch, particularly when you can bring that heat like Noah can. After all the pitches away off speed, now you pop him inside, even though that missed. That still, if that's on the black, it's going to lock him up.
3rd time this year Noah struck out 10 or more, but his first since the middle of April. And for the Mets, their 7th straight game with 10 or more strikeouts, which is a new club record, which is shocking to me that they'd never done that before. 1990, 2016, they had 6 straight games with 10 or more. Now for the first time ever, 7 straight. Matz had a career high 11 yesterday, and now Syndergaard with 10 today. Joe Panik is 0 for 3. And he takes that off the plate. A ball and a strike. For Syndergaard, the 14th time in his career he's struck out 10 or more, but the first time since April 15th against Milwaukee. Curveball fouled back. And now Syndergaard ahead on the count on Panik, 1-2. Typically cool San Francisco day, temperature in the upper 60s, and Syndergaard fresh as a daisy in the 9th.
As he should be.
1-2 coming. Hit out to left field. Conforto coming toward the line. 2 out. So Syndergaard's now gone deeper into this game than he ever has in the major leagues. 8 2/3, and 1 out away from finishing it off.
Maybe the game is coming back around, just the pendulum starting to swing back a little bit.
Well, for a guy like Syndergaard, who is so big and so strong and has such ease with which he delivers his pitches, you would expect him to be able to do this as long as he's able to keep his pitch count in a reasonable territory. Evan Longoria takes a strike, and here he's being able to do that today, throwing 99 miles an hour in the 9th inning. And it looks easy. Longoria 1 for 3 today. Flied out deep to center his last time up. And the slider, he held the swing in time. A ball and a strike. If Longoria can keep it going, Brandon Belt would be next. Mets have had 1 complete game this year. That belongs to Jacob deGrom. Syndergaard right on the cusp.
And Longoria takes a hack and misses. And now the Giants are down to their final strike. One-two coming. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Noah Syndergaard with the first complete game of his major league career, a two-hitter, 11 strikeouts, as the Mets take the rubber game of the series on a brilliant performance by Noah Syndergaard, the dominating outing that the Mets and Syndergaard have been waiting for, and Noah was all of that today.
Well, what's most impressive, I have seen Noah Syndergaard throw deep into games and be dominant and overpowering. But this game here, not so much the complete game, that's great, but he was a complete pitcher today. It's the finest strategic game I've seen him pitch, and he got his rhythm the last 3 innings. Just superb performance.
Game summary presented by Tri-Acura. Syndergaard was the story. First career complete game, just the second for the Mets this season. A two-hitter, 11 strikeouts, as Syndergaard wins his 10th of the year. 2-run homer for Michael Conforto, 2-run single for Jeff McNeil, and the Mets take 2 out of 3 in San Francisco and win the season series from the Giants.